Hi. So thank you all so much for joining us on Soulful Sunday. Hey, I call him Soto just because that's what resonates with me. This guy up here. Say hi, Soto.
Hey y'all, thanks y'all for having me. It's a pleasure to be on here.
Absolutely. So today we're going to be talking about the ideas of growth and adventure. And the reason I'm wanting to talk about this is because I feel like we were like at a point in time in history in our lives where you have the opportunity to grow, or at least opportunities to grow are going to start presenting themselves more to people that are open to it. And you have to approach it not just like with a sense of adventure, but a willingness to go on the adventure. So would you be able to tell me, reflecting back on either 2020 or at any point in your life, where growth it was unexpected and it happened and you're glad that you took the plunge?
Oh, I I guess I have to say like growth happens every day, but when I had to take the plunge was probably when I started business, and I started business with the intention of helping others, but then it just like started to become a business actually. Wait, well, like I didn't really like
You didn't
how do I
expect it to
put it?
happen. It's just something that kind of happened.
Yes, exactly. It kind of happened and it became bigger than what it really intended to be. But yeah, I learned a lot about myself starting a business, and it asks a lot about you, and it asks you to change and put yourself in an uncomfortable position. A lot of people won't do it because they feel very comfortable with where they're at, and the change comes with fear, and sometimes we have to overcome the fear.
And what were some of the things that you were afraid of?
um, Initially I want to say um, not having a paycheck, so that was really scary. I had become comfortable with the idea that having a paycheck was beneficial for me because it made me feel stable, but not having a paycheck because you become your own boss, that is pretty scary because you don't know how you're going to end up paying your bills if um,
That profit doesn't come in.
yes, exactly.
Wow. And how long did that fear stay with you? Does it still stay with you? Is it something that you were just kind of like, you know what, this is one of the things I'm gonna have to accept that might happen, but I like you were just compelled to do it?
The fear stays with you almost always, almost even like today. I have a fear of like, okay, what if I can no longer do business ever again? Or like, what if like for some reason business doesn't work for me ever again? Like, say I move into some other type of project and that doesn't work out, and the next thing doesn't work out, and the next thing doesn't work out. They're all failures and they're all worth having, but you're still like, oh man. I mean, it's a way of life, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
but you do overcome it, and then you're like, whoa, I never want to get a paycheck again. I never want to feel that comfortable again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was pretty big change and growth for me. Um, I do remember just having to learn how to budget a lot better. That's very important. Yeah.
Same, same.
And what about
Yeah.
yourself? When perhaps did you have a huge growth in your life, which may have just been like a very sudden change?
You know, I would say I've had a lot of impactful things happen over the last decade to me that have caused me to step outside of my comfort zone and to seek answers. And I'm going to say that one of those things that prompted my more recent growth was a breakup I had last year. I'd say it's a little over a year ago that I had this breakup and I lost everything. I had nothing. Everything that I owned fit into two boxes, and that was it. I didn't have a job. I'm crazy in debt. And I just had this fire in me, like just like this fire of, I'm never going to be in this place again. I know I can do more, and I'm going to do more. And I remember I was living in Washington, Vancouver, Washington last summer, and I was cleaning houses, right, to make like some extra cash. And I was cleaning this house for some like retired senior citizens, and I'm mopping the floor. And this gentleman, he's like 85, but so active, you know, and we start having this conversation back and forth, and he stops me and he says, he's like, "What are you doing?" And I asked him, I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Why are you here cleaning my floors? You shouldn't be here." He's like, "I should see you somewhere big, doing big things, to where I can turn on my TV screen and I can say, I know her. She was cleaning my floors. And now she's there." And like, that was a big wake up call to me, you know, and that kind of stayed with me, like that drive that man gave me. So, I mean, I ended my breakup. Luckily, my family helped me, like, you know, put the pieces back together. They gave me a base to build off of. I got 2 jobs. And then I started getting creative. And that's why I started this podcast, you know, because I wanted to share the message with people and I wanted to inspire them or give them something to think about. So I would say having nothing and losing everything because I thought that I was committed to one person, and then having to rebuild on my own off nothing but grit, you know, off like guts and resilience and taking the initiative and staying tenacious.
Yeah, it's pretty intense whenever you go from having everything down to like just a few boxes, and sometimes I think for people it helps them realize how much they actually need, and that brings up the whole like minimalizing and learning more about yourself, because a lot of people, they'll spend more time on themselves and it becomes a very big growth, like a catalyst. And I think sometimes that's what people need in order to grow, get out of their comfort zone. um, it's happened to me before, and I'm sure a lot of people also feel it, but it's very important to like take the reins and say, okay, we're gonna go with it. I'm glad that that man told you that.
Me too. Me too. You know, this 85-year-old man who's still like, he was really active, but it's one thing when you see yourself a certain way, and it's another thing when someone else says, I see you, and this is not where you're supposed to be. You know,
Yeah.
so having somebody like who has been through life, who has lived, stop me and say, you're going in the wrong direction. You got to change it up because you're meant for more.
Recently, I've been thinking like self manifestations, and how if you want something, you go out and get it, and you do everything you want, and then if you don't get it, then you obviously didn't want it, right? Because I mean, it's that's kind of how life is at the moment. If you
You
want
really think
something,
so? Like
you
sometimes I
got
wonder if like the approach isn't right, then you need to learn about where your most recent approach failed, and then you just attack it from a different angle, is my mentality about it. Because if something really connects with you, like on a very deep level, and is meant for you, there's nothing that's going to stand in the way. And any hiccup that you hit along the way is just a building block that you hit now so you don't hit it later when you have what you wanted.
or I kind of view it the same way. Like say you're approaching the same goal from a different angle because you hit a roadblock, so you back up and let me try to do it another way. But that's where the whole fail often comes in again, because if you do it once and you get it right the first time, you don't get the opportunity to try it twice. You already did it once. What's the point in doing it again? But if you do it once and then you fail, and then you do it again and you fail again, and then you do it another way, you also have to and you achieve the goal. But now you have the ability to turn around and tell people like, okay, guys, I tried to do it this way, and it didn't work. And now I try to do it this way. And it almost worked, but let me tell you why it didn't work. So this is why I did it this other way. And
Yeah, I like
you
that.
can help other people out that way too, sharing your experience. For example, um, networking. So movie stars don't always make it on the movies right away, but they do network. They're like, okay, you got to try working with this agent and call this person, and they'll be able to connect you with this other person. Like, it's just you cannot give up to reach the goal. You just got to continue, and it makes people feel challenged, and sometimes they become who they are along the way, and they're okay
Mhm.
there. But constantly working towards the goal, and that's. I think we got off topic though.
No, you're fine. So I like
Okay.
exactly where you're going because there's going to be times where you don't get what you want. Things don't go as planned, but this is why it's important to approach it with a sense of adventure, right? You have to be willing, you have to approach it with a mindset of knowing that things aren't going to go according to plan and be okay with it and just let things be as they are, and that you're like excited when something goes wrong almost because it's challenging you in a way that you weren't ready for, and you have to put your best self forward so that your best self can get it done. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. You grow
Yeah.
along the way, and
Yes.
it's nice to see other people grow too. Um, for example, uh, well, I don't know if you have friends, but I have young friends as well. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know if your friends are young. I don't know if your friends are young, but I have some young friends, and it's interesting to watch them go and potentially walk similar paths as to I did, and I offer them some advice, and whether they take it or they don't is their that yeah,
Their
everybody's their own
prerogative.
person. Yeah. I wish them all the best, and always I try to put my best foot forward with them because as being an older person, someone who's matured and grown, I'm able to share my perspective with them. And I think we need that a little bit more in today's society. Just
I agree.
talking about growth and telling people like, hey, what are your goals? Like, what are the end? Where do you want to be? Sometimes people don't really have that sort of idea, like a 5 year goal or a 10 year goal. Uh, I know growing up, I didn't think I was gonna make it past like 25. So I was like, I just really didn't. And
Really? How do
yeah,
you feel?
I sped often, and I mean, many times I wake up and I'm like, well, I'm alive. I'm older than I made it. It's just so like now what? Like I'm past the expiration date is how I feel. So, um, you're living young and you're living fast, and everything's just on the fly. But I'm older, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna stick around for a while. So
Yeah.
might as well try to learn what everybody else is doing instead of being loud
Instead of
and
just living
fast.
fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you could write yourself a postcard to
Mm-hmm.
25-year-old you, right, about growth and adventure, just these two things, what would you say to 25-year-old you on a postcard sent back in time?
All right. Well, on a postcard, it would have to say, um, don't be naive, but constantly think young and uh, be cautious with many of your choices because there's nothing wrong with being cautious and being adventurous. You do have to live young, try new things, see new things, continuously be amazed.
Mm-hmm.
um, I think of you know young kids when you show them a ball and they're like, right, and it's a plastic, 10-cent ball,
Yeah.
and they are amazed. So if you constantly eyes some new stuff, you will be in awe of the world continuously.
Yeah. Well, I agree. And I just kind of want to add out there because I feel like some of the sites that you have seen should be shared with other people. And like on your social media, you do share some of these adventures that you have when you go camping and you go
Oh
out to these
yeah,
beautiful places.
yeah. Thank you. I do travel a little bit, not as much as I like because of 2020, but I do try to get out of the state, maybe like once every 2 or 3 months. Texas is so huge, and I love to drive, but driving 14 hours to just get out, it's not for me.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm trying to get a pilot's license right now. That way I can get out of
Wow.
here in like 5 hours. Just Louisiana, here we are. Yeah,
There we
but
go. I hope you get that. Good for
thank you.
you.
Yeah, it's just all about the financing at the moment because um, it's just very difficult to plan for an expense like that. I do plan to use it for work as well. So one of the things I've always wanted to do is travel and work at the same time. So if I
Yeah,
could make money while traveling, hey, I'm living the life, living the dream. But uh,
absolutely.
I don't share too much on Instagram, really. It's just I haven't posted much, but I do take lots of photos, and I'll be sure to share some. I'll put some more up, updated. But I always enjoy running into people on the trails, and they have some interesting stories. But if anybody listening likes to travel and wants to talk about traveling or where to go, what I've seen, what I like to see, we can do that as well. Um, I forget what my Instagram handle is, but I think it's H Soto underscore 3177.
I'll tell you right now. Hold on. Let's verify for you because I want people to be able to bask in all of this that you've done. So it's H, the letter H, SOTO underscore 3177. If you guys aren't following him already, go follow him, please, on Instagram and any other platforms. I think you're on TikTok too, right?
I am on TikTok. On TikTok, it's my whole name. It's Honorio Soto. Honorio Soto Jr. is actually what it is. But
Yeah.
to help people learn how to spell it, it's Honor Rio and then Soto
Yeah.
Jr. Yeah.
And I'll put your name like in the blog and stuff, and like I'll hyperlink your stuff so that people can go and check out the wonderful things that you're sharing with people. Whether it's like, hey, like I'm learning how to do this, I'm going to share it with you guys, or I've been on this adventure and I want to share it with you guys. I really appreciate the fact that you take time out of your day and your experience while you're having it so that you can share it with us. So thank you again for doing that.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. I appreciate that. Growing up in the valley, it's kind of that furthest away from America that you can pretty much feel, yeah, other than living on the southern tip of Florida. But yeah, I meet a lot of people that still, I tell them that, oh, well, I was in Colorado last month. And they're like, wait a minute, what, you were in Colorado? Like, what's it
Mm-hmm.
like up there? And these are older people, they don't travel. They've only been in the valley.
Really?
Yeah, and it's just like, man, you got to travel. You got to get out there and see some things. Yeah,
Yeah.
see a bear, get scared. Um, start by camping in your backyard. Definitely, that's
Yeah.
probably the best way to do it. So you can learn how to set up a tent.
For sure, for sure. The last thing you want to do is go camping and then you can't even set up your shelter and then you're just SOL and nobody wants that.
Oh well, I've camped with people who have never camped before, and it's so hard for them to fall asleep the first night because they're kind of shuffling around and they're like rolling around in their sleeping bags, making all sorts of noise. But they're scared of all the sounds. The internet turns off on your phone, and the only thing it's good for is to look at photos and a flashlight. But it's it's an experience to camp in your own backyard. You'll hear all sorts of noises, and
Absolutely.
the woods will seem a lot more pleasant.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end it there. Thank you again so much for your time and for joining me on this conversation. And I hope you have a wonderful Sunday.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I've been a long time listener now, and I really enjoy Chismes Enchiladas.
Thank you.
I hope to be on here again sometime. Thank you so much.
You got it. Take care.